I recently had the absolute honor of visiting both Japan and Korea, and in today's video, I want to take you all shopping with me. We are going to Japan. I am walking you through my shopping experience. I actually went to 5 or 6 different stores in Japan, from the Donki stores of Tokyo all the way to the more luxury side of Kyoto. So whether you're planning a trip to Japan or you're just super interested in Asian beauty, you guys, a lot of these brands I've never seen in person before. It was crazy. And absolutely make sure that you are subscribed for my upcoming haul because I have quite a lot of product, and today's video is really a sneak peek into my product selections. So without further ado, let's jump into the first store that I visited. This store is at Cosme. Now, you will absolutely hear me say Cosme throughout all of the footage that you see of me actually at the store. So you guys told me that I needed to try out Cosme and see what they had. Apparently there is a big mixture of both drugstore stuff that you can get in the States and then stuff that's more exclusive to Cosme. So we're gonna go inside, see what it's all about. Apparently it's also very huge, so this might actually take us a while. But at Cosme is this really cool store that actually started as like a beauty review site. But imagine something like old school like Makeup Alley meets Sephora. So they actually have real-time rankings of the products that are selling the most, which is also the case at Olive Young. I am going to take you all with me on my shopping trip to Olive Young and some of my upcoming content, but I really love this model of store, especially for someone that is not from Japan. I want to try what people from Japan are actually using, and this made it super easy to find some really cool hidden gems. I have not heard of this brand, and apparently this is like their #1 lip tint, so I might have to pick up one of these. Also, I've never seen this can make mascara in my life, so this is just really interesting. Like, I walked into at Cosme and immediately I bought one of my favorite products from the entire haul. I wanted to give you guys some spoilers in this video for that upcoming haul. I also got introduced to RMK, which is officially one of my new favorite Japanese brands that I just tried from this trip. This was my first experience of seeing all of the product in person, and really it felt like when you were in this store that, again, it was very similar to like a Sephora or even a Nordstrom. Everything was really clean and bright, minimal. But I have to tell you guys that out of every single store that I went to in Japan, this was by far my most hectic experience. I'm not sure if it was just because this was the Tokyo station at Cosme, but it was packed with people, a lot of people coming in and out. So I would kind of compare it to maybe like a Times Square Sephora. I would I would love to be able to go back and go at kind of an off hour or maybe even just another location, because honestly I could have stayed here a lot longer and I just felt a little bit cramped and overwhelmed. Wasn't necessarily like my favorite experience out of all the stores that we went to, though the product selection was absolutely insane. One brand that I immediately saw I was really interested in trying was Addiction Tokyo. A lot of you guys wanted me to try this brand. This was also my first introduction into seeing some of the drugstore finds or the Asia exclusive products from different drugstore brands. So for example, this Maybelline foundation, I had seen that this was launching to Asia, in the past few months, or at least the past year. I was immediately intrigued by it, but, I could never get it here in the States. So that was something that was really cool about going to these stores, was seeing those specific, like, big brands, Maybelline, Revlon launches that you could only get over in Asia. And for example, the Shiseido Revita Essence line, which I am a fan of, there's a powder that released over in Asia that you can't even get in the States, I don't believe. Now, if that's not the case, you guys will absolutely see more on that in my actual haul video. But as someone that is absolutely beauty obsessed, that was very interesting to see. Now, the next store I went to was Donki, and I was so excited to visit my first Don Quijote. This is essentially a giant mega store, discount store. They have locations all over Tokyo, and I was actually lucky enough to be staying right across the street from the Don Quixote that I actually visited with you all. So it was really funny when my boyfriend and I were incredibly jet lagged. We actually headed over there for the first time in the middle of the night. I immediately found my favorite sunscreen, and it was like something crazy, like $6. I actually have a picture that I think I already showed you guys, but we basically walked in and then he said, should we look for your sunscreen? Obviously, I was down to do that. And though this is actually one of the most hectic stores, it was actually one of my favorite stores to shop in because of the selection. Don Quijote is also open 24 hours a day, so you can actually head over there again at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
This is so good. So I definitely have to get one of these. And look at how cheap it is here. Yeah, by the way, they have a lot of like luggage and backpacks, but these I think are kind of overpriced. If you go into some other neighborhoods, you can get some like for very cheap. So I would recommend doing that. I have had to stop myself from getting anything at 5 a.m. when I was here because I knew I wanted to take you guys with me. I didn't have my camera, so.
From every angle of the store, there is someone yelling at you. There are screens moving like a million times a minute. The lights are incredibly bright.
A lot of K-beauty. And obviously from every corner there's someone screaming at me to do something. You guys know I love Romand. I love the juicy lasting tint. I wonder how much it is here versus when I get it online. These are so good. Way more people need to try these. They're really lovely. Hints is in general a little bit pricier, but absolutely worth it. So I just picked up some hint stuff. So I'm gonna skip on hints, I think. Keeping in mind that I have like so many other stores I'm going to. So now so many of you guys wanted me to try Dinto. So I think I'm gonna try Dinto right now. So these are the Blur Glowy Lip Tint. I'm gonna pick this one. This is the shade Sophia. I think people really like this, the Coast makeup fixer, but it is intense. That's why I think they have like also these like scented versions, which I don't think I want to do. I'm just gonna go for the OG. So yeah, gotta try this one. This brand was also at.
There are actually a lot of memes talking about getting like overstimulated at Donki, which is definitely true once you actually go there.
Cosme. They're telling me to try the Essence Plump Balm, so maybe we'll go ahead and do that. That one looks really pretty, actually. That one's a little too light. So that's the one we're doing. I think that's good. Okay, this was the mascara I wanted to try. Whoa, is that? I think that's a heated lash curler. Everything is so relatively cheap, but this is, wait, this is a heated lash curler too. Okay, well, I think we're gonna try this one versus that one. That one looks kind of terrifying, so we're gonna go ahead and try this one, but I still need to find the mascara that I saw at Cosme. Ooh. I haven't heard of this one. Love. I mean, look at how cheap these lash curlers are. I wonder if they're all made here. Yeah, made in Japan. And they have different sizes, which honestly, like, I have talked about this before, but I think all brands need to have this. So I'm gonna go with the regular size. It is wild to see all of this in person. Just like when you use this stuff for years and you've never seen it in person, it's crazy. This is it. So I've never seen this one from Isan. This is such a wild experience. I'm so glad that I came back here when I was a little bit more coherent, because there's just like so much going on. And also, I think it's really good to have gone to Cosme and then coming back here. It gives me like a good feel for the brands that you can expect at each place. And yeah, there's quite a lot of overlap actually, more than I was expecting. We're getting these for my boyfriend because he said he needed these, so I kind of need to make my train to Hakone. So I'm gonna get a matcha latte from 7-Eleven and I'm gonna head out of here.
So if you like kind of being alone, having your moment in this absolutely crazy, hectic world, it's really a very unique experience, unlike any other shopping experience I've had here in the States. But what I loved particularly about Donki is that there was so much affordable makeup and skincare, and they really had an absolutely excellent selection. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say, I know there are a lot of people that will recommend going to a mega Donki. I actually don't think that that's necessary. There was a ton of beauty at the one that I went to. I think if there's one local to you, I would just go into that one. And that's something that I think you hear over and over and over again, that you need to go to like specific stores. Like I heard this a lot when I actually went to France, that you needed to go to this specific pharmacy. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys, you absolutely don't need to do that. In fact, there are quite a few drugstores in Tokyo that I think would be just as fun to go into. I immediately saw one of my favorite Japanese beauty products, which are my Nivea Rich Shine and Color lip balms. And they had a bunch of shades that I had never been able to see before in person, and I actually think are also new shades. So that was amazing. I absolutely picked up one of those. You will see though that I thought this was a low price. I actually found an even lower price at another store that I visited. I got the viral rice mask. I actually didn't get the exfoliating one. We'll talk more about that in the haul. Next, I went to Yojiya Tsuruha. This was when we finally went to Kyoto, and this is an old brand. They were founded in 1904, which is crazy. I had really no context to this when I actually went to the store. I had just gotten the recommendation from you guys to go and check it out. They're really known for like their oil blotting papers, so I knew I wanted to pick some of those up. But I have to say that out of all of the experiences of the different stores, I think that if you have one or two brands that you're really, really interested in, going to their flagship stores could actually be a really good idea and a really interesting experience. But I think that obviously when you're traveling, like you don't want to maybe spend half a day going to like single stores. It really can take you all over the place too. So that's obviously when going to like a Donki or an at Cosme would be a better idea, in my opinion. I'm really excited to share more about that brand because I tried out some of their products and I think that they're really fantastic. So more coming on that obviously in my next video. But you guys might be wondering, like, what about just like a traditional drugstore? There are so many drugstores in Tokyo, Kyoto, in between. Things are very, very convenient in Japan. That was something that I really enjoyed. It never felt like I had to go too far to have like a need met. If I needed a meal, I could just go quickly into a 7-Eleven and like be on my way. Or I could go into a drugstore and have a really, really nice selection pretty much across the board. So I visited Tsuruha, which is actually very comparable to like a CVS or a Boots, and I went to the one in Kyoto. I went right when they opened up. It was a very relaxing experience.
And why are we getting that?
We're getting this because I got bug bites from being in the onsen open air bath, but not in the open air. I was only in the open air.
Oh, thank God I found them. They're the lip monster. I want to get the glossy one though. These are super, super popular here, so I'm glad that I found them. Ooh. What is this? I haven't heard of this brand. There's so many single eyeshadow options here. Oh, they have this. Cool.
The bunny
Oh.
paper towels.
Should we get some? Aww. So I believe one of these was what, oh, it was this medicated stuff we had at the onsen, and it really irritated Blake's skin. And it smelled kind of mentholy, so I didn't put it on my skin. But I told him to put it on his. I used him as my guinea pig. I need to find a face wash because I'm all out of face wash. I think we're in hair heaven over here. This is all for like when you're really hot, I think. Maybe I'm out of my mind, I don't know if I know. Now, what's the difference between this pear acne and the... We got the cream, that's what people tell you to get.
There's a sign beside it that said it was selling well.
Oh, okay. Look, honey.
The same price as Tokyo.
Yeah, same price. So we're gonna get one of those for you. Because the one I bought you is sealed up.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I think these are actually cheaper. Whoa. Kiss me, mommy. Okay, yeah. Aww.
And they have basically anything you could really need. They had like snacks, band-aids, you know, like energy drinks. They had a lot of the typical things that you might need when you're traveling and a little bit jet lagged. Something that I did not expect though, and you'll notice in some of the footage of like the pricing, some of these products were absolutely more affordable than going to Donki, which Donki is price effective, and it's nice to have such a large selection right in front of you without going to so many different stores. But I highly recommend going into some of these smaller drugstores or even the mom and pop drugstores, because I am pretty positive that you can get an even better deal if you go to some of these cash only drugstores. You might have to pay tax on that though, so it kind of just depends. If it's like around $1 less, then absolutely you're better off just going to some of these cheaper mom and pop stores. I really liked shopping here actually. They had a few brands that I actually hadn't seen or maybe just missed in the hecticness of being at these certain stores. So I highly recommend it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that it was definitely one of my favorite shopping experiences. It felt very low pressure. Finally, I also went to Loft in Kyoto. Loft was founded in 1987, and they're really cool because they're kind of like, imagine like IKEA mixed with a Sephora kind of thing. You can get like stationery, you can get body care, you can get home goods and beauty. It's really nice. Almost, I guess, kind of like a Bed Bath & Beyond kind of vibe. And I'm not sure if they're owned by the same parent company as at Cosme or what, but when I went in store, they actually had a lot of signage mentioning the awards given to the different brands and the particular products that were on the different end caps. So I also, again, found that really, really helpful to be able to understand the products that are actually popular in Japan rather than, again, the products that are just, you know, just happen to be viral here. I want to find kind of the best of the best. But I saw brands that I absolutely love, like Kogen-Do. This was the first time I actually saw Kogen-Do, which I personally found was crazy because they've been one of my favorite Japanese brands for like 10 years. Can-Make actually had a giant gondola, which I was really excited to see because, again, I love Can-Make as well. They make a really, really incredible sunscreen. I actually kind of regret not picking it up. But again, they had some of these smaller brands that I hadn't seen at Cosme because again, I'm not sure if it was just so freaking overstimulating that I just didn't catch them, but they had this brand called Vim, this really interesting kind of like foundation concealer palette, which I think is really good for spot concealing, especially if you don't want to do foundation. This potential road dupe, which we'll talk about in my upcoming beauty haul. So those were all the main places that I shopped in Japan. I hope you enjoyed me kind of taking you behind the scenes and showing you guys the experience. If you guys want to see the actual products that I picked up, definitely make sure you are subscribed. And by the way, I actually wore quite a bit of Asian beauty today, kind of just as a little celebration for the trip. So I'll leave everything that's on my face down below as well. But overall, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one.